Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. Hey, welcome to Friday. Welcome to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis, and this is the POMcast. Before we get started on this jam-packed show, I want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. That's 1-800-330-7461. Again, that is 1-800-330-7461. Basically, what I was trying to do here is to give you guys a resource. Everybody needs a vacation. Everybody likes to vacation in Central Florida. These guys can get you the same price you can get online, provide a resource. They get paid by parks and whatever else is going on, and they can let you know about mask mandates, and you can use them like that. Like, okay, at Disney you may have mask inside. At Universal you don't have to have mask at all, and at the beaches or at the businesses out there in Clearwater you're safe. That's what they do. So give them a call, 1-800-330-7461. See Central Florida like a local, travelandcruiseworld.com. And also down below, you can see the channels, the major channels that our podcast is on. Just search Positively Ole Miss. Leave a 5-star review. It doesn't matter what you say. Just leave a 5-star review if you don't mind. That'll help with the algorithm with people trying to locate this show. So if you could do that, that would be great. Also, if you want to watch the show, you can catch us on Twitter at @TheStephenWillis. And at Ole Positively, you can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. On YouTube, we're Positively Ole Miss. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. And we're on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all lowercase, all one word. Yeah, we got that in under 2 minutes. That's awesome. But welcome to the show. We have a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're going to take final looks at Liberty, kind of what needs to be done and what we've heard. We'll give you a sneak peek at the uniform for the game. And also, we'll talk about how the defense has an exorbitant role to play tomorrow. So that's going to be a big part because they're facing an NFL guy, top 10 quarterback. And also, we'll talk about Christmas at Disney. Like, we're starting to wind down football season. It's Disney season coming up for me. As you know, I'm an annual pass holder. And we'll talk about what we can expect at Disney. We're already starting to see new ears and new little things you can buy floating out. But Christmas at Disney, the trees and everything, already up. It went up November 1st. So as soon as Halloween quit, they went straight to Christmas. So they're lighting it and doing all the stuff they need to do at Disney. So I'm looking forward to that. But Ole Miss versus Liberty, 11 o'clock in the morning on SEC Network. I think Deuce McAllister's on the call, so we'll get to call Ole Miss. So we get to listen to him a little bit. I always like listening to Deuce when he's the color guy with the Saints. He's pretty good at it, actually. And it's nice to see him doing that in the booth and kind of translating that over to television, going from the radio environment to the television environment. As we know, that's a little bit different thing, but he's doing a heck of a job right now. So Malik Willis and the Liberty Flames come into Oxford tomorrow, along with Hugh Freeze. Everybody knows about Hugh Freeze, former coach at Ole Miss, took us to a Sugar Bowl. Was the coach that was on staff whenever we got hammered on probation as well. So it's one of those type situations, you know. High ceiling, low floor type guy. And we saw both ends of the spectrum at Ole Miss. So, you know, congratulations, and, you know, or I hope you're doing well at Liberty because we didn't need you here. That type of deal. So, Malik Willis is coming in, and he is a one-man band for that offense. This is a team that has lost to Syracuse, by running the football, and Louisiana Monroe, that's a Rich Rod offense, by them running the football. Now, I expect a heavy load of Snoop Connor, Jerry and Ely, Henry Parrish, even maybe Kentrell Bullock Saturday. We're going to attack that run defense and try to expose it. Now, Liberty is probably going to have to stack the box because they don't have the depth, they're not as big, and they're not as fast as we are. So they have to try and scheme it available. And in doing so, you're liable to open up the passing game. Well, here's the problem. There's reports out today that Matt Corral has not practiced a single down all week. Has not practiced at all. So I think that line of thought needs to continue until next Monday. I think Matt Corral needs to sit down and not play. He needs to get well for A&M, or else you're looking at a point where he's going to be hobbled against Liberty, and he's going to not re-aggravate it, but it's not going to get any better, and he'll be injured against A&M, and then he'll be injured against Vanderbilt, and then he'll be injured against Mississippi State. We need to do what we can to provide the biggest boost to get this healthy, and that would be just him shutting down this week, treating this like a de facto bye week. And this, everybody's upset about the bye week and the placement of it. Everybody's got excuses for everything, but it is what it is. And Luke Altmaier is the guy that settled down that Auburn game. You can call a conservative game plan. You can give him pass plays that he can do very well. Understand reads that he works, and it should be good enough to get through this game, especially with that stable and running backs. They're also, I'm not expecting any of the three starting wide receivers or the starting tight end to play. So we're dealing with twos out wide. My theory on those positions are to give the young guys a shot. Now, you don't have to give them a shot at the same time. I'm not saying step out there with the three wide receivers of all freshmen and Luke Altmaier quarterback. That would be fun to watch, but that would be iffy. But slip them in. Have a rotation of 4 or 5 or 6 guys at wide receiver. J.J. Henry and Jacour Pearson at slot. Braylon Brown and Dennis Jackson out wide at receiver. The other side, Jaden Jackson and Brandon Buckhalter at those receivers. And you can just piecemeal and find out a combination that works. We need to use this this week to figure out what works. For the last 3 games of the season, we need to figure out what works. And this is a game that, everybody's concerned with how dangerous it is, and it is dangerous. Liberty's a pretty good football team. They lost to Louisiana Monroe. Let's not forget that. And they lost to Syracuse, and we're better in both of those. So they can lose the game. It's much more likely that they'll lose the game than we will. But there's a chance of catastrophe happening. Now, there's a greater chance of catastrophe happening when Texas A&M comes to town. There's a greater chance of catastrophe happening at the Egg Bowl. Now, Liberty would probably beat Vanderbilt. So Liberty's probably the 3rd lowest ranked game on our schedule currently. And that's good. We have a week, don't take this the wrong way, but a little down week with Liberty, up week with A&M, down week at Vanderbilt, up week at Mississippi State. It's not straight along the lines. It's not a November that's just absolutely terrible. Even if we play mediocre, we should go 2-2 in November. And that's 8-4, and that'd be below what I predicted because I predicted the state win. But it is what it is. But we need to get Matt healthy as good as possible to improve those chances at A&M, to improve those chances at Mississippi State. And that doesn't really include him trying to force something here. Get well. Get as well as you can get. Now, we know with ankles, they can be tricky. They just can. Bo Wallace hurt his ankle against Arkansas in 2014 and was still affecting him in the Access Bowl January 1st. I mean, that was a severe sprain, but that's about 6 weeks. So, without knowing exactly what's going on with his ankles, it's really difficult to say. And now if there's a chance that he's got that 6-week ankle, that's a problem. It's just not going to matter if he shuts down and he can play. He kind of is what he is at that point. But I don't know. I just don't know what to think of when it comes to Matt Corral in the quarterback position. Although, if it was up to me, Matt Corral would not play this weekend. This is a weekend we should be able to get regardless, and he will not play. True freshman or not, Luke Altmaier should be able to get the job done this weekend, especially in this offense and what they do. And I bet there will be a little bit of light bulb. After the confidence that he picked up at Auburn, he is bound to take the next step against Liberty. And you get to see what he looks like with the lights on. You're not dealing with next year with a Michael Spurlock type situation to where you don't know what happens when the light comes on. He's already played for you. He's already started a game. He's already done all that. So season is what it is at this point. We're trying to get to 12. And to get to 12, we need to win all our games. And to win all of our games does not include forcing Matt this week. It's to get him the better prepared for next week. I don't like having a quarterback out there that hasn't practiced all week and hasn't done any scout team stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that. I hope Luke Altmaier took this week and really prepared and got ready to go. Because I just don't know. There's certain things that I like and there's certain things that I don't like. I just do not like that. It is what it is. Anyway, because of all this stuff that we talked about, the defense is going to need to be the star of this game. There's a top 10 quarterback on the other side that leads Liberty in rushing and passing. He's got a strong arm, throws the ball all over the field, kind of does what he needs to do. I think you're going to see a lot of drop 8, honestly. You're going to see them rush 3 because I'm not expecting Liberty to overly be able to run the ball. Even Auburn, who everybody acts like they ran for 300 yards last week, ran for like 175. They just had a really productive first quarter. So I'm not expecting Liberty to be able to run the football consistently against Ole Miss. So it's going to be a Malik Willis game, and he is going to have to come out and essentially be elite in this game to handle the experienced corners and this defensive backs on this team. Because I think Ole Miss is also going to light him up a little bit. And they're going to go back to the idea this week, in my opinion, that explosive is the way to go. And what I mean by that is Liberty might make plays occasionally. But the bank is sometime in the series, the rush is going to get home. The blitz is going to get home. Liberty is going to hold because they're less fit than the Ole Miss guys. They're less strong than the Ole Miss guys. And they have to grab a little bit. And you can set them up with a lost yardage play. That's probably the plan. You sacks and then try to get Malik Willis to throw you the ball. And that should be the plan defensively. This is looking like it's going to be honestly a 31-17 type game, I'm thinking. 31-10. Now, like I said, Liberty's a good team, but I just don't know if they have the athletes to necessarily match up to what's going on. They're going to be spied. Chance Campbell, I expect to have a big day. Expect him to have a sack or two. And just thinking out loud also, when looking at this defense and Arkansas's defense, when the quarterback leaves the pocket, the middle linebacker immediately gives up his assignment and rushes full speed. The 3-man becomes a 4-man rush. There's like a spy every play. But that's kind of playing against rules because there's rules for quarterbacks, as all of you know. We've all heard it on TV. You don't throw it back across the middle when rolling one direction or the other. So whenever the quarterback leaves the pocket, obviously the middle linebacker, that would be the middle of the field. That would be throwing back over the middle. So not knowing that the rule prevents the quarterback from throwing a pass into that zone allows them to rush. And Chance Campbell's gotten sacks this year. Arkansas makes a living off of that. But eventually offenses are going to figure out and start to intentionally break that rule. You'll see a bunch of delayed Texas type routes and stuff over the middle that's just replacing the area where he left. But that is interesting. Watch our defense. You have a scrambling quarterback with Malik Willis. Watch what happens with the middle linebackers whenever they break the pocket. It's really interesting. It really is. I'm not a defensive stalwart and everything, but it is basically using the rules of quarterback play against them, is the way that I put it. But you saw it in Arkansas. You see it with Ole Miss from time to time. Like I said, it's a stalwart of that drop 8 defense that Iowa State has brought out. So basically you see 3-man, but it's actually a 4-man rush, because if they don't get home and the guy scrambles out, they're going to get run by the middle linebacker. It is what it is. Let's see. Now, I am expecting Otis Reese and Jake Springer to have a little bit of a day. This is one of those games where you can play at the line of scrimmage. This is one of those games when you can do some things that you don't normally do. I'm expecting the defense to become more exotic than they normally have been. I don't know that Liberty uses a whole bunch of tempo. They might use a bunch of no huddle, but Lane Kiffin mentioned that Hugh Freeze has gone away with what he did at Ole Miss. And if he's going more pro spread, that's fine. But I am curious about that. More time on the field means it allows us more time to be more exotic. It is what it is. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. Jake Springer and Otis Reese on the line of the scrimmage, kind of playing the role of outside linebackers, is interesting to me. It just is. And you can blitz one, you can send the other one back in coverage, and you're good to go. And then you have a zone blitz, and it's really a drop 7. Now, there's going to be holes in the zone. If you don't get home, if you don't affect the eyes of the quarterback, if you don't make him move and drop his head a little bit, you're in a little bit of trouble, because doing stuff like that is going to make the zones in the front level, instead of 5 players, is 4. So there's going to be larger holes open in between what's going on. So that's an idea to look at. Like I said, Malik Willis is a top 10 quarterback. But Ole Miss is bigger, faster, stronger, and has more depth on the offensive line and otherwise, especially on the defensive line. I think you're going to see Cedric Johnson and Sam Williams eat a little bit this weekend. And because of that, I just really like what they do on the defensive front. I like everything that's going on with the defense right now. It just looks a little bit different, and there's different ways to get to where it's going. And since it looks different, people are having trouble really visualizing what they're doing, because before you could absolutely see what they're doing. Now it's basically a full disguise that you just don't know what they're doing. And it may look like there's 5 players in the box, but there's actually 8 players in the box. And it's just all because of positioning, players, and everything that's going on. So the defense is interesting. The defense right now is sitting about 80, 85, which is about, where it was. The defense last year was like one of the worst I've ever seen, save Missouri this year. But this improvement, and there's going to be improvement next year, because all those DBs are going to start, that they recruited last year, are going to get on the field. And when they get on the field, it's really, these are guys that were recruited for this. You got the kid Jalen White out of Arkansas that is a tweener safety. You wouldn't see offers come to him from other programs because they don't run what we run. We need a different player for this position. Now you're looking at somebody that's 6'3", 210 pounds, and can absolutely run. You put him out there at that one of those star positions or one of those outside linebacker type positions, and all of a sudden they can work a little bit. They got a little bit of length to them. They got a little weight to them. They can run like a deer, and your defense is going to improve because of that. And I just don't think people need to give up with what we're doing, because it's there. If it wasn't working, Auburn would have ran for 3 bills last week. because Auburn was lining up in 3 tight ends and they were running the football. That was what they wanted to do. They wanted to follow Alabama's game plan. We just don't quite have the athletes there, but it was an improvement from the Alabama game to this one. It's growing. You're seeing a curve of improvement of DJ Durkin's defenses moving forward. So don't give up on what's going on defensively, because moving forward, they're going to be a little bit better, and next year they're going to be really good. I know everybody's thinking, well, what about Chance Campbell and Sam? They're going to get transfers to fill that role. There's a certain body type and a player type that they are looking for. Those players might be at Alabama. That's a perfect fit for what they do, but they didn't quite fit at Alabama. And those guys enter the transfer portal. Ole Miss goes and picks them up. It's not that you're taking Alabama's rejects. It's just that they picked the wrong system for what they do. Everybody sees Alabama and gets really excited about their offer and everything committed to go. Alabama might not be the right fit for them, for what they do. And then all that means you're going to sit on the Alabama sideline for 4 years, and you're never going to realize what you're good at. But Ole Miss in this transfer portal are going to recruit players that fit exactly what they need. And they need players that do a little bit different stuff because of this defense. Now, when this defense takes hold and moves forward, what's going on? It might be a little bit different then. But right now, we have an advantage over the type players we're trying to recruit, both in recruiting and through the transfer portals defensively. So that reason alone is a plenty good reason to stay the course on defense. So it is what it is. I'm expecting this game, like I said, 31-17, 31-14, 45-31. I don't know. I want to see who plays quarterback for Ole Miss. I want to see who plays running back for Ole Miss. And I want to see what their game plan looks like, honestly. I'm not overly concerned with what Liberty wants to do. Like I said, they have a top 10 quarterback. He's a heck of a player. He's probably one of the best player, if not the best player to ever come through Liberty. But he's not anything that's going to overly mess with it. Everybody's going to point to the Arkansas game. It's like, what about that? It was 2 different teams. 2 different teams. And besides, Ole Miss won that game anyway. So it is what it is. Now, do want to tell you about, Christmas at Disney is starting up. Candlelight Processional is sold out for the season at Epcot. And you're starting to see new merchandise hit the stores with the Christmas thing. Now, October 31st, it was all set up for Halloween. November 1st, it was all Christmas. And I think in Magic Kingdom, they even have the things where they do the soap bubbles to make it look like it's snowing, even though it's 85 degrees outside in Florida, which, hey, I'm not complaining about that. This weather is amazing. You know that 2-week period of time in the spring where you're all excited about what's going on? We get 6 months of that here. That's the amazing part. Everybody talks about July and August and how hot it is, and really not much hotter than Mississippi or Tennessee or Alabama or Georgia. But you get that extra weather. Once you hit November, like tonight, it's supposed to be like 55 as a low. Today the high is 72. It's fantastic. There's freeze warnings all the way in the South. The South has to deal with all the muggy heat of Mississippi, those 100 days. And then you have to deal with ice storms and cold weather that happens during the winter. It's like the worst of both worlds. Down here, it's just going to quit raining, be sunny every day, and be about 70 degrees for the next 6 months. So it is what it is. Also, because of that, don't go to Disney during the summer. Don't go to Disney in December or January or February or March. Trust me. You'll be surprised at how much that heat affects your mood. If you need to go to Disney during those winter months, because it's going to be less crowded, the temperature is going to be less, and you're going to have a much better time. So I recommend Christmas at Disney. And that's what we're doing this year for our family vacation, our Christmas vacation, whatever you want to call it. They're all coming down, and we're going to go to Disney and spend December 4th through the 12th there. That's one of the reasons we're going to be so sporadic during December. The other is going to be right after that is supposed to be my radio surgery over 2 weeks. So it's about 3 weeks. It's going to just have an interesting schedule. So just bear with us there. But everybody's going to come down. Everything's going to be decked out for Christmas. Everything's going to be decorated for Christmas. And you're going to absolutely be able to get into the mood other than wearing shorts on December 15th or whatever the day is. All the merchandise of the Christmas stores, I'm looking forward to the Christmas stores. We have a tree up now. We're going to go to Disney several times. We're an annual pass holder, so we don't pay for parking or entrance into a park. So we can just go to a park and go to the Christmas tree store, the Christmas store. And take that vacation. Do that. You'll have a good time, and your kids will have memory that they'll never forget, because Disney during the summer is great. Disney during the Christmas season is absolutely amazing. So just a little heads up that I give you there. But I recommend through the merchandise, all the special events. It's the 50th anniversary. It's the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World right now. So Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, all of those are just decorated to the nines. They basically turned the Tower of Terror, by the way, through projection into a giant gingerbread house during the Christmas season. And I think they do the same thing with Cinderella's Castle at Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom. So it is what it is. So I want to say, I'm going to give you a couple minutes back. I'm calling this game to be somewhere within around 2 touchdowns. Ole Miss should be the team to beat them. They should be able to run the ball. They should be able to do a bunch of stuff. Now, Ole Miss is really injured, but it is what it is. Also, Liberty is probably going, I think they received an invitation to Conference USA. Conference USA is going to become the low-end conference in college football whenever all this happens. The Sun Belt has moved way up. They did a fantastic job. Besides the SEC, they are probably the winner of realignment. Not the Big 12, not the American, not Conference USA. The MAC also adding potentially Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky. So that's two more teams from the Conference USA that, yeah. And if you look at the map where all the teams are in Conference USA, good grief, I feel sorry for their travel budgets. Excellent job, Jeremy McClain at Southern Miss. So I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in today. We'll be back Sunday with the review show, Monday with the POMcast. Hopefully Beast in the East and Best in the West will be back next week as well. Catch us on all the channels that are carrying us. Search our channels on the web. But until then, till Sunday, hotty toddy guys. Have a good weekend.